Today's review is sponsored by Meth Toothpaste. Just because you're an addict doesn't mean you can't have a nice smile.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
Death Game.
Red game! It really works. You know, we should get some of this stuff to carry around for our own protection.
You shouldn't leave mace lying around, George.
Not to be confused with Game of Death. Before we get into the movie, I've got to talk about Grindhouse Releasing. This is an independent company that specializes in releasing cult movies and Grindhouse movies. They don't have a big catalog, but every movie they release is given the royal treatment.
And you don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre. Pieces. It's exactly what you think it is.
Every Blu-ray they release is chock full of special features and interviews, and they also come with a little booklet that has even more information on the movie. I love when companies do stuff like this. It does take them a long time to release a new movie into their catalog, but that's because 1, they're incredibly independent, and 2, they take a while to put so many special features into one Blu-ray.
A young boy infects an entire town with rabies and turns a group of men into a band of bloodthirsty zombies ravaging a peaceful countryside.
I've been a supporter of them for years. I absolutely love their products. Like I said, they've released some of my favorite exploitation films, and again, they're given so many special features. The Beyond, Cannibal Holocaust, Massacre Mafia Style, we got Pieces, we got I Drink Your Blood, and a few more movies in my collection. Like I said, I like supporting independent companies, and this one releases a good product. Now, I ended up meeting one of the guys who works at Grindhouse Releasing. He shops at the same store that I do for movies. I met him a few times, and then I found out that he works for them. He's seen my channel, and he likes my stuff. He actually hooked me up with the release of Death Games. Also, my friend Randy knows someone else who works at Grindhouse Releasings, and he's always been able to give me a little sneak peek into what's been coming out. I just want to be very transparent with you guys about that, but, you know, I thought it was kinda cool. This company that I support has seen my videos.
I crept in beside you and I did things to you. I drove you crazy. What? I drove you crazy. I did things that you never even read about. I did things you never even read about, and that's what I want to do to you right now.
Death Game is a home invasion movie from 1977. For those of you who have not heard of this movie, you might be more familiar with the 2015 remake called Knock Knock, directed by Eli Roth. Now, I have not seen that movie, so I can't tell you whether it's good or bad, but I've heard of it. The movie opens with a happy children's song. This is an earworm, too. This song was so catchy that it got stuck in my head for a week after watching this flick.
Who gave me the things in life that he never had? My good old dad.
It's a good start to the movie, much like the calming music at the beginning of Cannibal Holocaust. It throws you off before getting into this horror movie, and then when the creepy shit starts happening, they play this song again, and it's even more unsettling. After the opening credits, we meet George Manning, who's a loving husband to his wife Karen Manning. The first thing we see is the two of them teasing each other as they play a game of croquet.
Oh, George, I hate to do this to you, but goodbye.
Yeah. Terrific. Hey, I'm your husband.
Not when we're playing a game.
Now, Mrs. Manning has to leave the house due to their son needing his appendix out. You see, their kids are staying with her mother for a week, and she has to leave because the son needs surgery, so she leaves the house while he stays behind. It's a slightly convoluted way to make it so George is home alone. During a stormy night, two young women knock on George's door. Jackson, played by Locke, and Donna, played by Colleen Camp.
Sorry to bother you, really, but we're lost, and do you happen to know where the Gregorys live?
The Gregorys?
Mm-hmm.
Not around here, no I don't. Gesundheit.
These two claim that they got lost looking for a friend's house, and they weren't driving, they were walking, so they need help. So they wait in the house and dry off while waiting for help, but as they wait, they start to attempt to seduce George. And George, being the loyal husband that he is, gives in to his temptations and has a steamy time with these two in the hot tub. The next morning, these two girls have not left, and their pleasant demeanor has been replaced with crazy. They trash George's house and eventually tie him up. This is when they start putting him through psychological torture. They break him down mentally until he's a shell of the person he used to be. This is a movie where the villains steal the whole show. Jackson and Donna are so fun to watch. They're intimidating and entertaining at the same time. Sondra Locke as Jackson is the best character in the movie. She's clearly crazy, but also intelligent. She's always playing mind games with George. She destroys his house, destroys his life, and she's loving every minute of it.
The court finds the defendant, George Manning, guilty as charged on all counts. It deems him a public menace.
Donna's also a good character, but you can tell she's the sidekick in this relationship. She's more childlike, and it's obvious that Jackson takes advantage of this, but never to the point where it feels like she's being abused. These two are friends, and they get along great with each other.
I'm going to write something for George. Donna loves George.
You can tell that they've both been through the same things in their life that led them to this point, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. They just like fucking with people. George is a good victim in all this. He's not a good person. Nobody's a good person in this. He did cheat on his wife with these two ladies, and it did not take much for him to cross that line. But the movie creates this moral question. Yes, this guy is an asshole, and he does deserve some kind of repercussions for what he did, but this is going too far. He's not a good person, but does he deserve all of this?
Help! 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 Help!
It's similar to House on the Edge of the Park. In that movie, there are no good people, but there's clearly people who are more in the wrong than others. I'll admit I can't help but love the villains more than the victim in this movie, and that's mostly because George is kinda bland. He's your typical damsel or manzel in distress. The movie would have benefited from giving him a little more personality.
Come off it, this isn't a court. Don't you see what you're doing?
He is serviceable as a victim of home invasion, but he tends to get overshadowed by Jackson and Donna. George does not have much personality, whereas Jackson and Donna have a lot of personality. They are having fun. As fucked up as it is, they're having a blast, and you can't help but have fun with them. But at the same time, we know these two are the villains, we know that their intentions aren't good, and that creates suspense.
Yes, he is, but, he's all tied up at the moment. Oh, I'm his, niece.
The tension comes from how unpredictable these two are. They manipulate the situation. They may be crazy, but they're in complete control. They start off by trashing George's house. Why doesn't he call the cops? Because they take advantage of this situation.
Go ahead and call the cops, George. Because I've got a story for them that's going to make that Rodin book of yours read like a nursery rhyme. Understand? She's 15, and I'm 17. Do you know what that means?
Now, these two actresses look young, and these characters are so off-kilter, you don't really know what you can trust and what you can't. They may be older, they may be underage, you don't really know. You have a feeling that they mix the truth with lies, so you never really know where these two are coming from. Watching these two characters and how they act reminded me of Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series and from Suicide Squad. Now, those are the only two I'm familiar with, but looking into it, it seems that these two are a good representation of what Harley Quinn is like. Now, I have no way of proving this at all, but I wonder if the people who created the Harley Quinn character got some inspiration from Death Game.
Ha! And here you thought I was just another bubble-headed blonde bimbo. Well, the joke's on you. I'm not even a real blonde.
Ew, you got chocolate all over George's grandparents.
They hint at something either happening with their dad or another older man that they encountered when they were kids who took advantage of them, and that resulted in them being the way they are now. We never know exactly what happened because, again, these two are kind of off-kilter, but all we know is that it was bad, and whatever it was, it resulted in them wanting to torture George.
I only wanted to love you. Maybe you're not angry with me anymore. Are you, Daddy? Are you angry with me anymore? I only wanted to love you, Daddy.
Now, I have to get into a minor spoiler here. Don't worry, I won't give anything major away. It's just important that I talk about this so you know where the suspense in this movie comes from. Things take an even darker turn when Jackson and Donna kill somebody. Again, I'm not going to go into details, but it was random how it happened, and it changes the whole situation. Now we don't know, are they going to kill George? Are they going to kill somebody else? It's that unpredictability between these two characters that keeps the suspense so high.
And therefore decrees that his life shall be terminated at dawn.
Happy birthday.
Death Game is a good home invasion movie, but I'll admit that's mostly because of Jackson and Donna. Like I said, George is a serviceable victim in this whole situation, but it would have helped if they gave him a little more personality, maybe make it seem like things are a little more rocky in his marriage, or at least develop his relationship with his wife a little more, and maybe have him resist a little more when these two started seducing him, so that we're on his side a little more. But still, the only reason we are on his side is because these two are taking things to such an extreme. But it's still a good movie, and it's still suspenseful. I would still recommend Death Games if you're just looking for a solid home invasion movie, if you're looking for some good, quality villains that are entertaining to watch, or if you just want a good Grindhouse movie. And with that, let's get to the Grindhouse rankings. I can't reveal the body count without spoiling the movie, so we're gonna move on. There is a lot of nudity in this film, mostly some breasts, but we also get a sneak peek at some lady parts, and we also see George's ass. The villains are the main reason to watch this movie. Jackson and Donna are having such a good time as the villains, you can't help but enjoy watching them. But there is still tension. The suspense comes from how unpredictable they are. George could have been a better guy in distress. His character doesn't have much personality. He's still serviceable as a victim, but he could have been better. The main theme of this movie is a real earworm. It will get stuck in your head. I don't have much else to say. This is a solid home invasion movie, mostly because of the villains. I cannot stress that enough. I'm giving Death Game a 3.9 out of 5. It's a good movie and well worth your time. As always, I want to thank all of you for watching and supporting my channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite villain in a home invasion movie. This is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. I'm a Grindhouse whore.